Falcons 5 is proudly presented by Momentum Life, where the sky is not the limit. Flying formation aerobatics demands a control that is taken to the limits of perfection. For each pilot, absolute concentration is essential, as a distraction for even a single second could have disastrous consequences for the entire team. This elite aerobatic team displays precision flying at its best. The control and coordination of the formation, not only at high speeds and low levels, but also within a limited airspace, calls for a high degree of skill and professional attitude, and the team's safety remains the responsibility of the team leader at all times.
Stand by.
Flying at speeds of up to 700 kilometers per hour and as close as a meter from each other while performing complex aerobatic maneuvers not only requires exceptional flying skills, but also a cool head, a disciplined approach, and the ability to work as a member of the team. The purpose of the Silver Falcons aerobatic team is to bring the Air Force to the nation through the presentation of precision, close formation aerobatic maneuvers that demonstrate the capabilities of the Impala Mark I and the exacting professional skills that the South African Air Force develops in the men who fly and maintain these aircraft, making them the pride of the nation. Everyone in the Silver Falcons has to put aside their individuality when flying as a member of the team. The reason is not hard to see. The life of each pilot rests so firmly in the hands of the other that there can be no room for individuality. It is therefore not surprising that such a strong sense of comradeship exists amongst the pilots. Criticism, self-criticism, and the desire to continually improve are essential factors that enable the team to present a more polished show at each performance. Being a member of the Falcon team is not all glamour and glory. These pilots are all full-time pilot attack instructors based at 85 Combat Flying School, flying 2 to 3 sorties with student pilots each day.
Steady go, stand by line and roll into box.
As the team enjoys only a part-time status, all practicing is done in their spare time, and usually after hours. During a show that lasts approximately 15 minutes, the team will execute 24 maneuvers during their performance, making use of 11 different formation postures, with the formation changing 19 times during a show. The Silver Falcons exhibit the highest degree of professionalism and dedication, and proudly project the image of the South African Air Force. Formation jet aerobatics in the South African Air Force dates back to 1954, when the original display team, known as the Bumbling Bees, operated the de Havilland Vampire jet aircraft. The Bumbling Bees were disbanded in 1959, but reunited in 1966 under the leadership of Colonel Chris Prince, when the flying training school was equipped with the Impala jet trainer. The Silver Falcons gave their first display in 1967 with the original aircraft painted in an overall silver finish. To provide a more colorful appearance, the Silver Falcons changed their livery in 1985 to the then national colors of orange, white, and blue. In line with changes in the country, the aircraft once again changed colours in 1993 to be more representative of the South African Air Force. In a topsy-turvy world with wings overlapping at times, there is no room for the glory seeker, the exhibitionist pilot who forgets the danger he puts everyone else in. But there are no glory seekers in the Falcons team. Their whole success has been built on training, practice, and complete confidence in themselves, each other, and the Impala Mark I jet aircraft. Members of the team have been rotated several times since 1967, but nevertheless, a very high standard of formation aerobatics has been maintained throughout. Absolute dedication and the will to fly precise formation aerobatics is what's required to become a member of the team. It requires more than just an average capability.
Ready, go, reverse delta, go, stand by, loop for the bend right.
Members of the team have to constantly set a high standard in their flying, always striving to be perfect. Every sortie that is flown produces a new challenge. And although it's almost impossible to stay in perfect formation every time, there is a driving force in each one of the team to constantly improve,
Right, go.
never becoming complacent. Due to the rationalization of the South African Air Force in 1992, 83 Jet Flying School was disbanded, and the Silver Falcons' responsibility was allocated to 85 Combat Flying School, based at its new location, Air Force Base Hoedspruit. As a team with only a part-time status, the Silver Falcons aerobatic team is unique amongst the world's aerobatic teams. All pilots are full-time instructors, and most team practicing is done outside and in addition to normal working activities. During the day, members of the team train young fighter pilots, and Falcons practice then takes place as a secondary activity.
Familiarize you with the cockpit. Okay, new cockpit for you.
Students that arrive at 85 Combat Flying School already have their wings and are introduced to the new cockpit environment of the Impala in the procedural trainer.
And if you want to get us in mechanically, Roger, how would you do it? Right, very good.
The computer-driven simulator allows the instructor to load different profiles for each sortie, so that the student is trained in all aspects of emergency procedures, before being allowed to continue his training under actual flying conditions.
What's your rapid descent here? Speed about 200 knots.
Jullie opstijgen, gaan zwaar gewag opstijgen, gaan ons uitdraaien, links uit, naar van Mike 500 toe.
Students are also given tactical air briefing instruction on all aspects of operational procedure flying. Besides simulated armed reconnaissance of specific target areas, students receive instruction on a wide variety of operational duties that include weapons training, tactical navigation, air combat, and search and rescue operations. 85 Combat Flying School operate the Impala Mark I and Mark II in both training and operational roles.
Russell, I would like you to take the side cover, put it over your head so we can do the blindfold cockpit. Right, show me where the park brake is situated. That's correct. The fire warning light. Correct.
The pilot attack instructors provide the students with a thorough understanding of fighter training, and before each flight are checked on vital procedures before undertaking the sortie. It's here where South Africa's future aces of the sky develop their skills. Instructors at 85 Combat Flying School all have the opportunity to volunteer for selection into the Silver Falcons aerobatic team. Members of the Silver Falcons are rotated every 2 to 3 years, and each team has the freedom to design and practice its own display sequence for every new display season. Once the new sequence has been thoroughly practiced and every member is fully trained in each maneuver, the team is cleared by the base commander to maintain a high safety standard. The safety of the entire team remains the responsibility of the leader at all times. He plans the execution of all maneuvers, monitors the speeds, ensures terrain clearance, and positions the formation relative to the crowd line. The leader also synchronizes the solo display of the 5th aircraft with the main formation. The responsibility of the rest of the team members is to adhere to the leader's calls and to maintain their specific tight formation posture, which is the hallmark of the Silver Falcons aerobatic team. Since its inception in 1967, the Silver Falcons have always flown a 4-ship formation. But in 1988, it was decided to add a 5th member to the team to perform synchronized solo aerobatics. This created a completely new show sequence, providing the team with more flexibility and thereby enhancing the quality of the show, providing greater entertainment value for the spectators. The single Rolls-Royce Viper turbojet allows the Impala Mark I to fly at speeds of up to 830 kilometers per hour, or 450 knots. This 2-seater ab initio jet trainer was first developed in 1957 and has emerged as the most successful jet training aircraft in its class, still serving numerous air forces on 4 continents, and has been manufactured under license by several countries. The South African Air Force still remains the largest operator of the Air Mackie MB326. Constant practice is the watchword of the team, and every maneuver that is executed to form the aerobatic display is backed up by long, tedious hours of practice and an almost fanatical attention to detail. The end result is a formation aerobatic spectacular. Aircraft maintenance is a key factor to ensure the safe deployment of the Silver Falcons aerobatic team. And the Falcons technical ground crew take pride in having maintained these 30-year-old aircraft to such a high level of airworthiness and serviceability. All technical personnel are members of 85 Combat Flying School, and the crew's main responsibility is to ensure that all aircraft are serviceable prior to, during, and after deployment. All snag corrections and first-line servicing are carried out by this dedicated team, who are each assigned a specific Falcons aircraft for which they are responsible. Responsibility for the successful presentation of an air display, the keynote of which is the correct positioning of the entire formation in relation to the spectators, rests with the leader of the team. Every practice or show starts with a thorough briefing on exactly what will be done in the sortie. Thoroughness is one of the reasons why the Silver Falcons is one of the few formation teams in the world which has a safety record to be proud of. Quality, flight safety and discipline are the non-negotiable critical success factors of the Silver Falcons aerobatic team. The attention to detail starts on the flight line, where every pre-flight inspection is carried out in the presence of an aircraft fitter to ensure that there are no problems and that every panel on the aircraft is properly closed and secure.
Falcon 2. Listen 124.
After startup, the ground crew make a final check of the aircraft's control systems before being cleared for the taxi out and takeoff. Once the aircraft have been brought to the correct weight, the show can begin. This is where real concentration is needed, flying in close formation under heavy G-force maneuvers.
Stand by correct. Up, go. 405, left on go. East, left on go. East, left on go.
Running in from behind the crowd at 200 feet and at 300 knots, they pull up for the big V-loop, which is the highest in the show. After completing the loop in Big V, the formation changes into Manta for a rolling maneuver to the right.
Stand by, loop with the bend right. Pull up, go. Left on go.
Having repositioned the five-ship formation, the team approaches the crowd head-on for the reverse delta loop.
Stand by, bend right. Bend right, go.
The entire team is then